Alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another episode of EduBytes. This is a continuation on tips for preparing for Ramadan for educators. This is tip number 3, reviving our Salah. In this one, we'll talk about how we can realign our Salah, get it back on track so that we can be ready for the month of Ramadan. A quick review. The tips are presented in terms of the framework of the model of education in the Quran. And the step that we're focusing on is tazkiyah, purification. And as I had mentioned before in previous episodes, this step, whatever interventions that we're planning for tazkiyah, for purification, we have to make sure that it focuses on all the 4 domains: the cognitive, emotional, social, and physical. And when we do that, then it really enhances the spiritual experience of us and of our students. Salah, as we all know, is one of the most important aspects of being a Muslim, of our Muslim identity, and also at the same time it can be one of the most difficult things to keep up with for us and for our students. And the thing with Salah is, if our prayers are good and if they're strong, then everything that follows, everything that we do afterwards, is also good and it's also strong. So Salah is extremely important before we enter the month of Ramadan, making sure that our Salah is realigned, it is readjusted, it is strong and it is focused. Those are some of the things that we need to be paying attention to. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He reminds us, He says, وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةَ إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ تَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنكَرِ وَلَذِكْرُ اللَّهِ أَكْبَرُ. That establish prayer, for indeed prayer will stop a person from committing indecent acts and acts that have been forbidden, and then the remembrance of Allah is the greatest. So in this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is actually reminding us and giving us a recipe for cleansing ourselves. And since we are talking about purification, about tazkiyah before the month of Ramadan, one of the best way to purify ourselves and to get rid of quote-unquote bad habits and habits that may not be pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to start focusing on our prayers. If we are not praying 5 times a day, to start again praying 5 times a day. If we don't offer our prayers in the masjid, at least focusing on that and making sure that we offer some of our prayers in the masjid. So those are some of the goals that we should actually be having for prayer. So in my previous episode, I talked about creating a plan for the month of Ramadan. So one of the goals that we should really be focusing on is Salah. And when it comes to educating our kids about Salah, there are many apps out there, mobile apps, online, that we can make our students aware of and have them accessible, have those apps accessible to our students. We can start with prayer logs so that we can start focusing on whether I'm keeping up with my prayer or not. There are a lot of resources online that we can get. We can hold a Salah workshop in our school, where the workshop is actually given by students to students. So students from older grades can give a Salah workshop to the younger grades, and this would be a learning experience for both of them. There are a lot of literature related to Salah, coloring books, activity books, visiting the story of the Salah, so that we can contextualize in terms of how important this act of worship is. So talking about Al-Isra wal Mi'raj and how the Prophet ﷺ received the prayers, the gift of prayers, on a first-hand basis with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Revisiting that would really help our students contextualize the whole the importance of prayers and really bring that into focus. There are a lot of YouTube videos out there online that we can have our students access that teach how to pray in a kid-friendly manner. So there's a lot of resources, and all of these things actually focus on the form of the prayer and the function of the prayer to a certain extent. Now, the next aspect of the prayer that is sometimes it eludes us, and it's much harder to explain to the students. It is highlighted in this verse from Surah Al-Mu'minun. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. That indeed the believers have become successful, those who observe Khushoo in their prayers. Now, the concept of Khushoo, it is having that focus, that concentration, that connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as one is praying. Khushuu is actually a very abstract concept for young minds to grasp, and it can be quite complex for students to understand completely. So one of the challenges that we always have as educators, as teachers, is how do you take something that is complex, something that is abstract, and put it into simpler, concrete terms so that we can connect with our students, so that students can have that aha moment. And by the way, taking something from complex to something that is simple is actually not easy. As Steve Jobs, he has said in one of his famous quotes that simpler is actually harder than complex, because we have to work hard to clean our thinking in order to make something simple. But when we achieve that, we can move mountains with it. So when we are able to put a complex or an abstract concept like khushu into much concrete terms with our students, then we will be able to connect with them, and they will have that aha moment, and they will understand the importance of khushu. One of the best explanations, one of the simpler explanations of khushu that I've heard was from Sheikh Rida Badir, where he used an analogy of having a cell phone, a very expensive cell phone, but if that cell phone does not have a good signal, right, then that cell phone is useless. It may be the latest model, but if the signal is not good, we cannot use it for the purpose it was built. Likewise, our prayer, even if the form of the prayer, the way we are performing the prayer in terms of its outwardly acts and actions, we may have it down right, and we may know how to what to say at what moment, at what act, and so on. But if we don't have that focus, that concentration, that connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then that prayer, just like the cell phone without the signal, is really not serving the function, and it may not be as useful for us as it was intended to be. So that's a very good explanation of how we can put a complex concept like khushu, or an abstract concept like khushu, into simpler and concrete terms. Now, in terms of helping our students further explore the concept of khushu, have them do different projects related to khushu. Have them maybe write a brochure that would explain the concept of khushu to somebody who does not understand. Maybe have them write poetry on it. Have them do a presentation, or make a video, or enact a play. Right? One thing that we do not want to do is to give a lecture on khushu. It will just go over their heads, right? They will not really be able to connect with it. So make sure that whatever learning activities that we implement in the classroom when it comes to abstract concepts like khushu and other abstract concepts that we come across, make sure that they are exploratory in nature, where the students are able to explore this on their own with guidance and with facilitation from the teacher, and arrive at the meaning, or arrive at the understanding of what it means, whatever that they're exploring. Just to wrap it up, a good dua to teach our students, to teach ourselves, in terms of the of Salah, is the one that was narrated that was taught to Mu'adh ibn Jabal by the Prophet ﷺ. in which he taught Muaz by saying, Allahumma a'inni ala dhikrika wa shukrika wa husni ibadatik, that O Allah, help me to remember you, to be grateful to you, and to worship you in an excellent manner. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to enable all of us to strengthen our prayers, to make it better and better, so that we can have that much of a stronger connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that when we enter the month of Ramadan, we are that much connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And perhaps when we raise our hands to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask Him for something, He would definitely, inshallah, grant us our du'as. And thank you so much for watching this presentation. And the month of Ramadan is about to come upon us, so let's get ready, let's strengthen our salah, and let's remind ourselves and our students about the importance of prayer and of the importance of getting it right before the month of Ramadan hits us. Inshallah, in the next episode, we'll be talking about reconnecting with the Quran. And Ramadan, as we know, is the month of the Quran. So how can we connect ourselves and our students with the Quran? And that's what we'll be talking about in the next episode. Jazakumullah khair. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.
يا حامل القرآن قد خصك الرحمن بالفضل والتيجان والروح والريحان.